we've learned that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Monday canceled a trip to Washington. The UN Security Council passed its first resolution calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. The United States abstained. That it's surprising, it's big, it's unbelievable. What's your take on this?
It is big. It's also rather amusing how syntax and wording and etymology have something to do with diplomacy. In this case, it had to do with the word permanent. Permanent means permanent, okay? Like lasting without any end, okay? Now, I was reminded that when it was clear that the U.S. coveted, really wanted permanent military bases in Iraq, and then that was one of the three reasons for the attack on Iraq, the other one being what Israel wanted, and the other one being oil. Hello, those three in about equal proportion. Well, permanent military bases didn't sound quite right. So the Pentagon changed that word permanent to enduring. They would be enduring military bases. So like the old song, "He follows enduring young military bases." Yeah, give me a break. It was transparent what was happening there. The upshot, of course, was although we killed a lot of people in Iraq, we did not get permanent military bases. We did eliminate the threat from Israel, and we didn't get much of the oil either. Killed a lot of people. Okay, so permanent, enduring. Well, we come into the same situation now. The 10 non-permanent members of the UN Security Council got together and put together a really strong resolution. It was quite artful, and it was really hard to veto this one. It said, we demand a 2-week ceasefire. So for the rest of Ramadan, okay? Leading to a permanent, sustainable ceasefire and the immediate and unconditional release of all hostages. Okay, so let's take a look at that ceasefire. Permanent, sustainable ceasefire is the wording in the resolution. Next thing you know, Netanyahu, the head of Israel, makes it known, no, US, you gotta veto this one too. Who's giving instructions to whom, okay? He says, now, if you don't veto that resolution, we're not gonna send our high-level delegation to Washington. What was the US to do? My goodness. Well, they put it around, they opened the dictionary and they said permanent. Maybe if we change permanent to something like enduring, maybe that would work. Maybe the Israelis would forgive us for that. And so what they came to was instead of permanent, they used enduring before with regard to those military. So let's use the word lasting. So lasting doesn't say how long, it's lasting. And, 2 weeks, Ramadan, that, if the Israelis want to resume the attack right after that, let them do it. So lasting should be okay with the Israelis. So they put in, instead of permanent, they put in enduring and being sustained. Okay, now, enduring and lasting are much softer than permanent. And whereas in the Iraq case, it was mostly just rhetoric and the appearances, here it means something. But the US was still not, it still did not get Netanyahu's blessing. He don't want any talk about lasting or enduring, much less permanent, he didn't want even 2 weeks worth, which is all he was going to get. The U.S. probably thought, well, the Israelis probably will wince a little, but they'll go along with this one, right? Nothing to do it. Next thing you know, Netanyahu is, I'm not going to send my chief aides to Israel now. So this is unacceptable. And his representative, that is the Israelis' representative to the UN, which I would not want to meet some night on an alley, or maybe I would. He says he's disgusted with this. This is just awful. Even though it was changed from permanent to lasting, and even though our ambassador, that is Ambassador Thomas Greenfield, said, well, now, remember now, this is all, quote, non-binding Security Council resolution, non-binding. Well, that's what she said. So she's already bowing down to Israel. Non-binding, and doesn't say permanent anymore, just says lasting. So Derma, the representative from, not Derma, but the Israeli ambassador at the UN, said that all members of this council should have voted against this shameful resolution. It is a travesty, and I am disgusted, period, end quote. So, interesting, huh? The US resolution, which was not an unambiguous, independent, unconditional offer of a ceasefire, was vetoed by Russia and China and Algeria, I guess. Yeah, Algeria on behalf of the Arab states. Guyana took passed on it. Abstained. Now we have, just over the weekend, a strong resolution, but hell, we tried to water it down by saying not permanent. No, it would be just lasting, and it's non-binding. And the Israelis said, no, you're bad boys at Washington. We're not going to come anymore. So now, is this a permanent or a lasting or enduring rupture between Washington and Tel Aviv? I don't think so. I think politics will still win the game here. It's an election year. Joe Biden can't afford to look less sympathetic to Israel than the Republicans. They're already weighing in. Here's Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, inviting Netanyahu to come and address the Congress. Wow. So will Mike Johnson say, oh, Prime Minister Netanyahu, you've been really not very nice in saying you couldn't even have a 2-week ceasefire, but come anyway, because we want to steal a march on the Democrats and show that we love Israel even more than the Democrats do? Or will he in turn, sotto voce, say, Bibi Netanyahu, it's probably best that you don't come under these circumstances? I don't know. But there we are in this internecine fighting between the Republicans and the Democrats, all of whom want to show that they're the best friends forever of Israel. The fly in the ointment here is that most Americans, I'm happy to tell you, Nima, don't like to be involved in genocide. Don't like to be involved in starving people to death. Don't want to be involved in what's happening in Israel now with our weapons and with our political support. So, how's this going to play out? I'm not an expert in domestic politics of the United States, but it's the big factor now. It surprises me a little that Biden felt it politically necessary to change permanent to lasting, but to go with the resolution, knowing that Bibi Netanyahu already said, if you do that, you better not do that, because if you do that, we're not going to come. It sounds childish, doesn't it? But it isn't. It's for big stakes. 95 is written. 95 Palestinian children are being killed every day, Nima. That means something. We got to stop this.